The awards recipients have been selected through a very competitive and public process. Now it's an honor to introduce the longest serving chairman of the Seminole Tribe of Florida, James E. Billie. Chairman Billie, we applaud your personal vision and we have for cultural programs for the Seminole Tribe of Florida, including, and please help me if I don't pronounce this correctly, the Atuaiki Museum of History, Elder Affairs programs for seniors, student education programs, and the longtime education to the annual Florida Folk Festival. So ladies and gentlemen, it's my privilege and high honor to introduce Chief James Billie.
Wow, what an introduction. Thank you, Kim and Sandy. I think one of the greatest battles I ever fought in my life besides alligators was something called a stroke. So I've recuperated pretty good. So when I'm talking, if it doesn't sound right, I'm going to blame it on it, okay? But anyway, good to see every one of you. And, you know, what's interesting is that I've heard about the Spanish, the French, the British, and everybody else. And the story that goes is we have fought against the Spanish, and then we fought with them when they were fighting the French, the British, and the Americans. So it went again with the French. We became friends with them, and we fought with them. And so everybody that's been here, including the Americans themselves, when they become organized to become the United States. And then another war began after they finished with us in the 1850s, and that was called the Civil War. So somebody said, did y'all fought with them? Yeah. We fought with the Confederates and we fought with the Union. And a bunch of our people went to Oklahoma to vacation somehow. So, so whoever was on the north side of the Canadian River, one of those rivers, fought with the Union, and then the ones that were south of it was fighting their own cousins. So we know what it is and have heard about it, just like the Americans themselves. It's an American, or us Americans today, we know how to fight each other, settle it, and continue on. So goes it today. I was born in 1944, so everybody say happy birthday. Today's my birthday. And it just happens to be my favorite number, 69. So, I don't know if that was inappropriate, but you know. But anyway, we were talking about tourism in Florida. By the time the Seminole Indians finally crawled out of the swamps in the 1900s and finally starting to get used to the environment around there, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Immokalee, Fort Myers, Fort Pierce, all those areas, one of the first things that I heard that made us successful, or not successful, but made money and put money in our pockets, was tourism. Starting over in Miami area. Somebody, I guess some white man picked up an alligator and wrestled around with it, and a bunch of tourists liked it, so they said, hey, that'll look better if an Indian did it. And next thing I know, we Indians started wrestling those alligators, and the tourists would throw money into the alligator pit, so the rest of the day we would spend digging in the ground trying to find all those nickels and quarters. But it served well. And then I come along in 1944 in Dania, and I was one of the few half-breeds, as they call it, half white, half Seminole. And, you know, I've never had a really bad time. I've always seen the good, and grew up around Delray Beach and West Palm Beach. And my grandmother and them used to be at the, I forgot what road it is, or West Palm Beach it is, but it used to be the bus station. At the bus station, we would have a little chiqui hut, and my grandmother made dolls and made little jackets, and my grandfather would be over there carving out wood, and we'll sell it to the tourists. I remember that, but the thing that I enjoyed the most was that just across the street was the boats coming in from out of the ocean for fishermen, and these white people would take a big fish and waste it. They cut little chunks out of it and throw the head and the meat all the way, and they call it fillet. So my grandmother said, see if you can go talk to that white man over there. I just seen him take what they call it, a grouper. And it looked like he's throwing most of it away. See if he'll give it to us. So he put it in the basket. So I went over there and I said, my grandma wants to know if we can have that basket with the fish head in it. Oh, take all you want. So here I come with about 4 or 5 of them for somebody helping. And my grandmother said, I didn't want that much. But so from being around in the area, always seemed like it was tourism in my blood. So when Seminole Tribe became organized in 1957, so be it that we had an Indian village called Seminole Oakley Indian Village. Again, we went to alligator wrestling and tried to do other things. This was the years that the Indians were trying to cut each other's tongues out, meaning one of the things was we were trying to catch up in this modern system so fast and so bad was the desire to learn what we call the white man's way, to learn to read English and do arithmetic and all that. We started going to school. That I remember like Billie and Bill, and they were trying to tell their kids, learn how to read and write, don't speak too much Indian. So this went on for several years, and eventually, as I matured and I started seeing that my grandmother speaks Indian, and people like yourself in your department are talking about the Indians, how wonderful their culture is. So in our mindset on the Indian reservation, hey, we better save this culture. And next thing I know, I'm lucky that I grew up speaking the language. But in those years, kids born in 1950, their parents literally just talked English to them, what they knew. So today, they could be like 50 years old and do not speak the Indian language totally. It's the next generation started learning their language. And so be it today that we have a bunch of people in our tribe don't speak the language. So about 1970, 1979, people my age started coming on the scene. And that's where we started working with our own culture, trying to learn our own language back. That was the silliest thing I ever seen. There were some Indians over there that we used to kind of laugh at. Oh, those are traditionalists. They don't want to go to school. They want to keep their culture. One day we're hiring these guys to come back and teach us. So it kind of went back in a circle. But today we are doing well. Our culture's still intact. May is our green corn celebration. You're not invited. unless you're specifically singled out to come there, but we don't invite the general public. And that's where we can fight amongst ourselves and not let you know what we're doing. But we still have our culture out there in the green corn dance, and we just might invite you, Ken. So we got to see you wrestle alligator, chase this big fat woman, all that kind of stuff. You know? No, it's supposed to be a joke. But anyway, but it happened in May, last part of May. So I guess one of the big things that held us back on many occasions was that called money. And one day we stumbled on somebody, I think we went to Vegas or something, I don't know what happened. But one of the Indian boys figured out maybe we should have casinos or something. And we fought along the state here in Florida, and finally we all started working together. So with that, we have a little bit of a casino down south. And eventually they bought out the Hard Rock around the world. And that's pretty good for a bunch of savages out in the woods. Finally got Hard Rock. So we're doing well, Ken. So, and it tickled me that y'all invited me to get up here because I'm not a what you call eloquent speaker. I just say what I'm saying. So here we are, and I thank y'all very much. And I love the history of Florida. The Seminoles involved in it. Since I was born in 1944, I'm not too sure what happened before that. But by the time I came on the scene, it has always been good to me and the rest of us there. So we can talk about the goods and the bad. All I know is the good. So I hope with that, am I through? No. Oh, what? I'd like to bring on, in the Seminole Tribe, I think it started back in 1957. We started having little different activities. And at the same time, we didn't want to be outdone by the Cherokees. Any Cherokees here? Good. Keep your hand down. Anyway, we call them savages. Don't trust those guys. Anyway, Every time you run into some white man, some black man, a Spanish guy, he says, I'm part Cherokee. You are? You go, yeah, my mother was a princess. Wow. So with that, we started having our princess contest. So we have our princesses with us today. I'd like to bring both of them up. Brianna, Alexis, come on up. We men have it fairly easy. All we got to do is go out there and chase a wild hog down and cut his throat and make barbecue out of him. But the ladies have more important things to do. They keep up our culture. In our tribe, we're matrilineal. We try to act like we men are the boss, but it doesn't happen that way. We're divided up in clan systems, and the clan systems was to identify which tree this woman belongs to, and every child, offspring out of that female bunch will always know that they're related, such as the Panther clan. Everybody out of that lady, from here to eternity, comes out of that lady, and her children, grandchildren, and so on, will be Panther clan. And I think, Alexis, you are Otter clan, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so she belongs to the Otter clan, and her children from here on out, she become even great-great-great-grandmother, it doesn't matter. If it's a female out of her, and that lineage will always be Otter clan. And then we have Panther clans, Bird clans, Snake clans, Deer clan, and we have 8 of them, 9 of them. So with that, when we have princess contests, what we do is we would like to see our young ladies to know their culture, their native tongue, and how they present themselves, and that's how they become princes of the tribe. Sometimes there might be 15 or 20, 30 of them competing, and the best one that the judges feel that has the best knowledge is the one that becomes princess. So they have a hard work to do, and this year our junior miss is Brianna Nunez, and she is the junior miss.
Estango, Chajifka, Kuchujamujikatons. Hello, good evening, everybody. My name is Brianna Nunez. I am the 2012-2013 Junior Miss Florida Seminole. I am 17 years old. I am the daughter of Deanna Dallas Nunez. And I'd like to talk to you a little bit about our culture. One of my favorite parts of our culture is our clothing, because if you go around the world, you do see different styles, but from my traveling, the places I've been, I've always had people come up to me and they're like, let me feel your dress. Oh my gosh, did you make this? And it's always so overwhelming because it's kind of like, you haven't seen this before? Because I'm always around it so often. But there's so many ways to make our dresses, and there's different designs, and I can name a few. There's turtle, panther, broken arrow, man on horse. It's just a great thing to have because it keeps our tradition going, and it lets us stand out, and it gives us the chance to, I'm not sure how to word it, to express where we come from. So I just thought I'd share that with you today. Thank you, Mado.
Thank you. Our grandiose princess of the tribe, she represents us all around the world. This new business that we finally got into called Hard Rock, we have a Hard Rock International. We have Hard Rock in almost every major city in the United States and almost every major country around the world. So somebody that can represent us was selected, and she comes from the Immokalee Reservation, and this is Alexis Aguilar.
Hello everyone, my name is Alexis Aguilar. I'm the 2012-2013 Miss Florida Seminole. When I think of heritage, I think of culture and history, and being Seminole are a big part of that. And Chief James was talking about clan system, and I know some history about that. Not totally, because I'm still young, have a lot to learn, of course, but We used to have more than 8 clans. He lists the 8 clans that we have today, and during the Seminole Wars, we lost a lot of those clans. I think there was only like 4 Panther women that crossed over the river during the end of the last one, and now they're the biggest clan that we have, which is very interesting. But we do trace it through the mothers. So if a Native American father gets with a non-Native American, their children won't have a clan. But which is the biggest clan that we have now is no clan. So and also you notice she spoke sort of a different language than me, because our tribe is Creek and Seminole. Well, we called ourselves Seminole, but it's Miccosukee and Creek. So she spoke Creek and I spoke Miccosukee. And our tribes came together, and it was just like a melting pot of our cultures mixing together, and that's what you guys know today as the Seminole tribe. Thank you.
Just a little note. From what I understand many years ago, when the Spaniards came here, I don't know if they all started fighting all of a sudden, but one of the tremendous things that took place was something called metal, knives, pots. It was better than trying to get make a pot over here and trying to cook with it. And then when you're cooking with it, you get clumsy and you break it. Or you get a stone knife and you'd be trying to cut something with it and it would break. But when they came on over, they came in with new ideas, new things, which was very new to the people on this continent. And so new things start to take place. And the funniest one that I always like is that new men come over too. They were tired of seeing these other guys, our tribal members. And so when they saw the Spanish men, they said, oh. They didn't have very many women with them, so us men kind of lost out on that one. But jumping all the way to the modern day, let's take the year 1900. Something new took place, and the Indian women were now coming out of, the Indian people anyway, coming out of the swamps, and now they were trying to figure out how to assimilate into our modern system. They were around Everglades City, down in 10,000 area, 10,000 island area, and a woman comes on the scene, and you know, you hear the stories that Indians have real good health, they got Indian medicine, but let me tell you, those mosquitoes can tear you up, and when they do, you can't find a salve for them. So Lady Bedell, I don't know if anybody ever heard of her, but anyway, she was a deaconess, I think, some religious lady, came down there and saw the needs that the Indians were having, even though they had to have this colorful background, trying to figure out how these Indians can get on their feet and start assimilating by selling things, making arts and crafts. So she came out of Alaska somewhere. She had been working up there, and she came down to Everglades City. How in the world she found that place, who knows? And the state bird there is a mosquito. And so she started working with the Indian ladies. She knew patchwork. She knew how to puzzle things together. And as she showed the Indian ladies, they also had designs in their head. Like I think it was Brianna or one of them said about the patchwork. There's 2 tomahawks facing each other that we make signs for different things, means sign of war, or let's go to war. Then they got the zigzag going like this. That would be the sign of fire. The 4 corners of the earth, which sometimes is depicted with yellow, red, black, and white. The lightning looks like a kilowatt. So the Indian ladies incorporated this into what Deaconess Bedell taught them. And if anybody in Oklahoma ever tells you that we make these designs, they're wrong. It originated right down here in South Florida. So when you see these designs, that is truly Seminole developed with the aid of Deaconess Bedell. Thank you.